In 6th grade, one of our ITL standards is empowered learner. Our goal was trying to get students to think about where their current level of understanding was at and to identify action steps or goals they can take to improve their understanding. I started with reading. Our team had created a form for a specific skill, in this case, finding the main idea of a passage. After I taught the skill, in this case, identifying main ideas, I reviewed with them all of the steps and strategies they could use to find the main idea and then gave them a passage to try independently. They used this form to review and then identify their main ideas. And then after, we went through and talked about what the main ideas of the passage were. Finally, I asked them to go back and do a reflection. When they did the reflection, I asked them to identify their current level of understanding. And based upon that, I asked them to identify some specific things that helped them to find the rating that they gave themselves. And then I asked them to think about what they might do next time and what goal they might set for themselves. I did this activity on 3 separate occasions so that students could practice this skill of finding the main idea and then analyzing their own level of understanding. As we went through each day, their responses did get stronger. This one was still listed as close. I think this was on day 2, and some things that they were thinking that they could do to help themselves. You can see that students gave a variety of responses, but after the 3rd visit, I did have pretty good responses with I'm understanding it. You can see it isn't as difficult as it was when I did this the last time. You can see this person said they were close. Here's a strategy they need to do. I can pay more attention to repeated words. Here's another one who thinks repeated words is a good option. I can try to make 1 sentence for each idea. I'm going to work on my main goals and evidence. And then lastly, I would make my main idea more detailed and specific. I wanted to use the idea of rating their understanding and setting a goal in math, so I created a new generic form that I could use. It needed to be generic because skills in math change often, sometimes daily, and I wanted to be able to use one consistent form. I then displayed the skills on the smartboard instead, along with a problem for students to do. I changed the wording for rating, as you can see, to match the wording that is on my rubrics on my assessments. One challenge that I had with this process was goal setting. Students really struggled with creating actionable and realistic goals. Initially, they would say that they need to do things like get better or work harder or learn my math facts. I shared with them this SMART goal setting strategy of specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time frame. And with math, the time frame is pretty short normally. And after a few days of practicing this prior to them actually writing their own goals, their goals began to be more realistic and more specific. Some examples of student goals in math, and these are for a variety of strategies because this is over several weeks. We have students who want to practice breaking each part out, practice these problems at star time, work on this for 10 minutes on Friday. That's very specific. I want to make study notes, practice these at home for 10 minutes a day. My goal is to bring home my math work for a week so I can look over it and for homework problems. I will work on the step-by-step process. I could do some practice off Canvas because I have extra problems there for them. I need more practice on simplifying. So you can see that they're really thinking about what they need to do to help themselves improve. After working on this strategy of rating yourself and your understanding where you're at right now and what your goals are for what your next steps might be, I did do a survey of students. You can see that I had 68 math students respond, and I just have a few follow-ups that I'll share with you. It says, after reviewing the correct responses, was it helpful to think about and rate your current level of understanding? You can see 92.6% of students said yes, it was. Was it helpful to think about and write goals for next steps for improving? 76.5% said yes. Did you take action on the goals? 88% of students said yes. Did you actually improve? 82% said that they did. And then finally, do you think this strategy is helpful when learning new concepts? 86.8% of students felt that it was helpful. And just as a side note, I am going to continue doing this in math because I do feel like after even talking to students about this strategy that they have shared, that their goal setting and trying to come up with goals for themselves has made a big difference. So I also am able to double check and look at their sheets as a type of an exit slip as well. And so I'm going to continue to do this process.